everybody. The public is advised that it is council policy to record the proceedings of meetings of council on digital media to assist in the preparation of minutes and to ensure that a true and accurate account of debate and discussion of meetings is available. This audio recording is authorised by the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2025. I declare the meeting open at 6:01 and welcome to those present tonight in attendance, and advise that the meeting will be digitally recorded in accordance with the council policy to record the meetings of council, to assist in the preparation of minutes and to allow live streaming of council meetings. I would also like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Tomagena people, and pay our respects to those that have passed before us, their history and their culture. So we've got 1.0 record of attendance, and we have some apologies. Mayor Dunyam and Councillor Ramage. 2.0 confirmation of minutes. There's a recommendation there that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the Waratah Wynyard Council held at Council Chambers 21 Saunders Street, Wynyard on Monday the 23rd of June 2025, a copy of which having been previously been circulated to councillors prior to the meeting, be confirmed as a true record.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Passed unanimously. Declarations of interest 3.0. Any declarations of interest to any councillors here tonight? Any staff? All good? Okay. Councillor announcements. Councillor announcements and reports 4.0. There's the announcements by the Mayor. There's the Mayor's communication, so there's a recommendation that council note the Mayor's communication. Do we have a mover?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Raw. Any questions or queries to those? No. All those in favour?
Aye.
Passed unanimously. 4.3, reports by delegates. There's Neil. 4.4, notification of council workshops. There's a recommendation there.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Did anybody have any questions to the workshops that was attended? Okay, I'll put the motion if there's none. All those in favour?
Aye.
Passed carried unanimously. Okay. No. So we go on to 5.0, public questions and statements. So 5.1, there's been nil received of public questions taken on notice from previous meeting. So 5.2, questions received in writing. 5.2.1, Robin Crabber, Social and Community Activation Panel. There's her question there and officer's response. 5.3, public questions without notice, and I'll just read the statement. The Council encourages community participation in its meetings through the opportunity for public questions and statements. Consistent with Council's core values, councillors and staff strive to ensure all people are treated with respect and integrity. We expect our residents and ratepayers to apply similar standards in their dealings with Council. As Acting Mayor, it is my responsibility to maintain the orderly conduct of council meetings and to determine whether a question or statement is out of order due to the use of offensive, objectionable or defamatory expression. I remind everyone that council's meeting procedures must be followed In particular, it should be noted a maximum of 3 questions may be asked per person. Any parts to questions are considered questions. All questions must be asked before a response is provided. There is a time limit of 3 minutes per person to ask questions. Once a question is answered, there is to be no debate on that question. Public statements are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. There is to be no questions or discussions related to a statement. I ask members of the public to show proper consideration and courtesy in their comments. Ms. Robin Crabbit, would you like to come forward and ask your questions?
Thank you. I have a second question in addition to the one which is already in the agenda, which refers to the draft plan for health and wellbeing, which has just been released. So I was told that the plan has been intentionally designed to be broad and open, so it can remain dynamic and responsive to the evolving needs of our community. My question is, how will the evolving needs of the community be identified, and how can the community get involved in the steering and implementation of the health and wellbeing plan? So I'm happy for that to be taken on notice, unless...
Yeah, through you, Mayor. They're fairly broad questions that go to how local government does its business and engages with the community. Relatively small workforce and 13,000 people to deal with. So without telling you how local government goes about business, my answer goes to that we are open to have one-on-one meetings, letters, people can come to workshops, working parties and present to councillors. Mm-hmm. And as we build our budgets every year, we consider all of the things we've heard. I think this council does a good job in working with the community because we're talking about not just health and wellbeing plans, but all of the plans we do for both sport and town centre, etc. And we attempt, I think, through thorough consultation using a range of methods that we have available to hear from as many people as possible and to put that information as effectively back to the councillors to make decisions on how resources are spent. So our annual plan, we're just commencing the new budget and the actions are contained in there. So that goes to what we attempt to achieve in this 1 year period, and we will draw down once the health and wellbeing plan is put to the council, which I hope to put to August. We will then populate the forward annual budgets with the actions that are coming from that plan in a more defined way, because I know you were asking that it was fairly broad, but then we'll bring that down into bite-sized annual chunks.
Mm-hmm. And is that information available to the public of the actual yearly plans?
Yeah, well, it's available now on our website, the annual plan or budget estimates, the language of the report. I've just sort of forgotten the name of it here. Yep. And all of our plans are on the website. So we do actually, when we list our action, we try and put the source of where that action came from. And this council, like a lot of good councils, draws on strategy to inform its annual action.
Okay, thank you. So with regards to the question that I submitted for the agenda, I have a few thoughts to share on the background to that question. So we have a climate emergency evidenced by increased heat waves, increased bushfires, increased storms, increased floods, increased droughts, etc. But we also have a psychological, a social and economic emergency, evidenced, for example, by problematic rates of suicide, mental ill health, domestic violence, homelessness, rising costs of living, polarisation and declining educational outcomes. So I contend that we need to take action on the second lot of crises to enable us to tackle climate change to the extent that we need to. And the organisation that I'm coordinator of, Live Well Tasmania, contends that taking action on both of these sets of crises will actually improve lives for everyone, versus the contention that taking action on climate change will leave everyone worse off. So it's a win-win to start where we can to address these crises, to create environments where we can all thrive, both to improve our own lives and to leave a better world for our children and our grandchildren. Where do we start? Well, research shows that we need supportive relationships and we need meaning and purpose to thrive. This is where the Waratah Wynyard Social Community Activation Panel comes in to help people thrive across the lifespan. The word government comes from to govern or to lead, to recognise when things need to be done differently, to have the courage to take a different path. Insanity means doing the same things and expecting different results. While I don't have a lot of knowledge about the day-to-day challenges of local government, I presume there are immense challenges in juggling all the things that councils have to do, and I totally respect all the members of staff of the council and all councillors. None of you have an easy job. However, I can guarantee the job of the council would be made immensely easier if the community as a whole was more empowered to contribute towards individual and collective health and well-being. Hence, I plead with the Waratah Wynyard Council to show leadership to instigate a social and community activation panel. And I would remind the council that at the council AGM on the 15th of January 2024, there were 20 votes to 2 in support of this motion, showing huge community support for this concept. Basically, I see the panel as being able to make a substantial contribution to progressing the health and wellbeing plan, particularly by enabling the community to have meaningful input into the plan and to increase the empowerment of the community. So my question is, will the council consider implementing a social and community activation panel modelled on the successful sustainability and environmental panel? Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll move on to 6.0, planning authority items. There is nil planning items. So we'll move on to 7.0, matters raised by councillors. And there are the 6 councillor questions and responses from the last council meeting. There's nil questions received in writing. 7.3, councillor questions without notice. Councillor Courtney.
Okay, I had 2, but after that presentation I've got 3. First one is the response to my working with vulnerable card. It appears that the Minister has come back and said that the role of council is not constituted for the purpose of providing services to vulnerable people. Are we suggesting that we don't provide services to vulnerable people, or that the councillors don't provide services to vulnerable people? Again, can I get some clarifier on that? Because I believe we do represent vulnerable people and we do provide services for vulnerable people, and I don't think there's a councillor here that hasn't worked with vulnerable people. Again, I feel like that's an answer that's a bit of a cop-out, and I'd like some clarification. The second one, through you, Madam Mayor, to Minister for Minister, you'd be a flaming good minister, but anyway, solar panel grants. Is there any way we could reach back to them and say, well, is there any programs for us to potentially get some for our recreational centres, our sporting centres? Because there might be grants available we're not aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. Through Acting Mayor, I'll follow that up. Yep.
Excellent. And my third one that's just come from the public question, Ms Crabber has asked that we show leadership in mental health and wellbeing. I learnt during the election period that Braddon is the poorest electorate in Tasmania, and we're 140 out of 150 in the nation. So if we're going to lead on mental health and wellbeing, can we write to whoever the new minister is when they get in around mental health and wellbeing and see what they can do for Braddon? Because if we're poor and we've got really high rates of illiteracy in Braddon, I think that's a genuine area that we need to work in, but we need to get some support from the state government for it, because I don't know that this is necessarily a role that council can resolve without funding from the state government. So, yeah, could we approach the state government over that?
Any other questions?
Do you want me to go? Or you go first?
Okay. I just had two, and the first one is around Robin Crabbe's question that she's asked, and whether it's timely to revisit her proposal. And in the response in the agenda, the officer wrote down 4 things or actions that support the community being involved in this sort of activity that's in the plan, the health and wellbeing plan. And I understand that Council has a workforce that targets their work and resources towards priorities in the health and wellbeing plan, and some of the targets are really specific and defined in the plan and easy to work towards, but others are loose to allow for creative and innovative projects and ways of working. So Robin's request fits in perfectly with this, and I want to know whether we can workshop it or talk about it in a more fuller way and see how we could make it work where this group of people would be able to inform, support and work with council in their work. I think it would be a powerful way to get another community group working with council. So that's my first question. My second one, do you want the second one now? Yep. My second one is just working on or thinking more on Councillor Courtney's request on the biodegradable plastic bags for FOGO and the response that's come back from the FOGO people or Dulverton. Is it possible to ask them on behalf of council that if a plastic bag or the biodegradable plastic bags could be a particular colour that stood out and was not a colour that any other plastic bag used, whether they would consider letting people have that come through, and then if they say yes to that, whether as a council we could write to the people that make the plastic bags and the biodegradable ones and see if we could get them to make them all the same colour, so that Australia-wide they could be going through systems like Dulverton and we could have a win-win situation.
Through you, Acting Mayor, we could certainly ask that question.
Yeah.
Any other? Yes, Councillor
just
Hyland.
one. Thanks, Madam Chair. To the Director of Engineering or the Assistant General Manager. Just a bit of an update, I suppose, at any stage, but I've got to ask about an incident with spillage on the highway and up Calder Road, and I didn't know anything about it, and I suppose it's got to take time to filter through, but it was reasonably serious, I think.
For you, Acting Mayor, spillage of
Rocks,
okay.
gravel, a car was damaged in the incident, police were on the scene.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll have to take that on notice.
Right,
I'm not aware of
right.
all of it.
yeah. Thanks for that.
Any other questions before we move on? No? Okay, there are no motions. So we'll move into reports. 9.1, there's a recommendation there that council adopts the revised council meeting policy and procedures as presented. I will need a mover, Councillor Raw, sorry.
Seconded.
Seconded, Councillor Roberts. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Raw?
No, I think we've workshopped it and as written is fine.
Councillor Roberts?
Same thing.
Anybody else want to speak to the motion? Okay, I'll put the motion. With that, nobody wants to speak. So, would you like to wrap up at all, or you're fine,
No.
Councillor? Okay. So, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. Okay, 9.2, another recommendation that council notes the 2024-25 annual plan progress report for the period 1st of July 2024 to the 30th of June 2025. Can I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts, a seconder. Councillor Hyland. Councillor Roberts, would you like to speak?
Not at all. It's pretty standard stuff and do it every year. So absolutely happy to move it and keep the ball rolling. So thank you.
Councillor Hyland, did you
No,
want to speak?
good. Thanks.
Can I just ask a clarification question? Because it's with one of the actions, it's ongoing action. I just wonder whether Mr Summers could tell us, when is the parking review expected to come through? Is that far away, or?
For you, Acting Mayor, I don't think it's far away. I know it's been worked upon internally. I'll come back to you with a date. So.
Oh, that's okay.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Um,
Councillor Courtney.
Excellent on the completion rate. What's the 2% that's not started? The economic prosperity one.
Carry forward.
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, that was in there, wasn't it?
Yeah, Deputy Mayor, I'll just find that on the attachments. I think I know which one it is, but I don't want to give an incorrect answer.
That's all right. That's all right, Daniel. I'll catch up with you after the meeting, that's all right.
Very close if you give me...
Well done on 71% completion rate, good job.
I can answer that for you, Councillor
Yeah,
Courtney.
go for it.
It is, the action is from a central area development plan to develop a plan for the former school site at Little Goldie Street.
Oh,
It's on hold because that site's also been considered by the state government as a potential location for emergency
yeah,
services.
okay, that makes sense.
That's the reason for not starting it.
Yep,
So,
no, that's fair enough.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Okay, so if there's no more questions. Councillor Roberts. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Carried unanimously. 9.3. There's a recommendation there that council adopts the 2025-2028 Waratah Community Plan. Could I have a
So moved.
mover?
Yep.
Councillor Courtney.
I'll move it.
Sorry.
Second
Second, Councillor Highland. Councillor Courtney, would you like to talk to it?
No, I'm really happy with the work that's been done in that area. The waterfall was full on a couple of days ago. So good that we're doing some work in that area to enhance that tourism.
It's all set up for Friday for the changeover, the handover of the new board and the old board out, and I think afternoon tea and all sorts. Yep, 2 o'clock Friday. So look forward to some exciting new jobs.
And I'll actually just like to say on that note, thank you to our outgoing board members as well on the Waratah Community Board. They do an incredible job, and also thanks to Councillor Holland for his work with them for a long, long time. So thank you, Councillor Holland.
Anybody else would like to speak to that? Thank you, Councillor Highland, for all the work that you've put in over the years, and it doesn't go unrecognised. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 9.4, the Frederick Street Reserve Master Plan. There's a recommendation there that council approve the release of the revised Frederick Street Reserve Master Plan for public review and feedback. Councillor Courtney, seconded. Councillor Roberts. Councillor Courtney.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic because that's a big space that we can use for health and recreation. So I've seen what we're going to put out for public consultation. I think what's there is a really great starting point to go out for public feedback, and I'm really excited about it.
Councillor Roberts.
Yeah, just quickly want to say, Councillor Johnson and I have that on our portfolio, and I really genuinely want to credit the groups that are involved with that, because the amount of consideration for other members, the amount of consideration for different groups, we've got different groups asking questions to make sure that other groups are getting the best that they can get, and they're all trying to fit in. I'm pretty sure the plan went layer after layer of what they wanted for everyone, and it does go to show that with the groups with the right mentality community and trying to solve issues for everyone, that we can hopefully come up with something that suits every user of that facility. And I think keep an eye out for Frederick Street in the coming years, and it goes to show that despite the fact we've doing the Wynyard Sports Precinct and we've got the plans for the Somerset Sports Precinct, that we're actually thinking of reserves like Frederick Street and French's Road and such as well. And it really does point to really strategic asset management, where big or small, we understand that members of our community use all of it. And we're looking at potential for runners and such as well. And there's a lot of work that's gone into that. And credit to Gary Neal as well on staff at council, who always does an incredible job of special projects. And I think a lot of the work that Gary does might not be seen by the public, but I see it, and I think he's a massive asset to this region and the council itself. So thanks, Gary. Cheers.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts.
Yeah, I'll just
Councillor Johnson.
Yeah, just the positivity and the progress that we're doing in the community for this little site here. You've got 16.5 acres of land, and once it goes out to community consultation in the community, and there might be even other ideas out there that, you know, who's to say that there could be a synthetic running track down the, you know, in the future and things like that, and that's what our community want to hear, you know. So, but you know, kudos to everyone in this room and the working group, what they've put forward, and yeah, it's really good, positive, and good to see the progress happening in our little town. Yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Highland.
Yeah, there was a point raised in there in regard to the rail corridor going right alongside that site as well. And I suppose the question I'd like to pose, how early is not too early to be having a bit of a conversation with Circular Head, just a bit of an icebreaker, just to see when we start to put something together, or just a conversation, or so that we keep it lukewarm. That's all I'm concerned about, and it just doesn't get dropped off the agenda.
For you, Acting Mayor, with Circular Head recently appointing a new General Manager, it's probably a reasonable item our CEO and the new General Manager can talk about as an introduction.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Any other speakers? I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 9.5, Annual Progress Report. A recommendation that Council notes the Annual Progress Report on the Tourism Plan 2022-27. Could I have a mover?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts.
I'll second it.
Seconder, Councillor Highland.
Yep.
Councillor Roberts, would you like to speak to?
Just real quickly, I respect the work that's been done in this space for tourism. Bringing money into our region is a very important factor of our economy, especially as Councillor Courtney mentioned before, that we are listed as the 140 of 150 towns in Tasmania in wealth. So we're in the bottom 10. And so the money that we can bring in the region by our natural attractions, whether it's our geography or our topography, is a massive asset to our region. And Council does great work in this space, and the town's always so presentable. Somerset's always presentable. Waratah is probably the best hidden gem in the country, really. So, you know, they do a great job in this space, and I look forward to seeing what's happening up to 2027. So, yeah, progress is going through, and I look forward to hopefully being on Council when the next plan's done as well. So, thank you.
Councillor Roberts. Are there any more speakers? No. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. (9.6) The Quarterly Information Report for Community and Engagement. There's a recommendation that Council notes the Quarterly Information Report for the Community and Engagement Department. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts. Seconder, Councillor Raw. Councillor Roberts.
Look, I say the same thing every time. We get asked as councillors, and I'm sure the staff is the same, that we get asked a lot of questions about what is actually happening, or where this project's up to, or where that project's up to. Now, I cannot encourage the public enough to read our agenda. The quarterly information report, especially, or the senior management reports, have a lot of information, a lot of data, statistical analysis, pie graphs, pretty much photos. There's some anecdotal stuff in there too. So there's pretty much every type of methodology to explain what we're up to, especially the visual stuff will show people what we have been doing. And if people are really, really interested in what we've been up to, I would highly recommend they read these reports. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor
I'm just going to note some highlights. So we had our early learning centre exceeding national quality standards. I think it's fantastic that we have the police to come in and talk to our kids to start building that relationship between our young people and our police force. I think that's just fantastic. And 2,500 people, we think, attended Gather Glow. Well done. That was a really good night, and that's a really good turnout. And my understanding from most of the business owners is that they did really, really good from the event, far better than expected. So that's another pat on the back for that event in that community engagement area. Well done.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Any other speakers? Okay, I'll just speak to that myself. This was a huge quarterly report, and so much was achieved through the quarter, and you can tell by the pages that the Waratah Wynyard staff covered a lot of things in that. And I'll go on top of what Councillor Courtney was saying on the Warrawyn. They did get Warrawyn early learning exceeding national quality standard. They were rated as exceeding the national quality standard. A service must not only meet all 7 quality areas, but demonstrate practice that significantly surpasses the standard in at least 4 of them, 2 of which must be from the quality areas 1, 5, 6 and 7. And they are educational program and practice, child health and safety, physical environment, staffing arrangements, relationships with children, collaborative partnerships with families and communities, governance and leadership. We are proud to share that Warrawyn Early Learning has been rated as exceeding the national quality standard across all 7 areas by the Australian Children's Education and Care Quality Authority. This outstanding achievement reflects our team's unwavering commitment to providing exceptional care, education and support to the children and families in our community. Congratulations, and pass on our congratulations and well done. So if there are no more speakers to this motion, I'll put the motion forward. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 9.7, letter of support for Britain Timbers. There's a recommendation there that council, 1, I'll just read it out for people online, that council, 1, authorises the Chief Executive Officer to provide a letter of support for Britain Timbers as an ongoing timber manufacturing entity in Somerset. I've got moved by Councillor Hyland, seconded by Councillor Roberts. Councillor Hyland.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, certainly needs all the support they can get. The timber industry is virtually the lifeblood of Tasmania. It's a huge employer, and the last thing we need is to be reducing their volumes by any great measure. The first thing that gets cut then is employment. The name Britain's been around for hundreds of years. They know the industry inside out and backwards, and I'm certainly happy to put my name in support of that letter.
Thank you, Councillor Holland. Any other speakers?
Can I just ask that things like this, I don't know enough about this to support it, so I don't know what the impacts will have. I would have loved this to have come to a workshop before it was put to us to do a letter of support. I don't know enough about it to support it. Like that's a very short, yeah.
Would you like clarification around that, Councillor Courtney?
No, I would like to know reputational risk. I would like to know what it means for our native forest areas, I would have a lot of questions that won't be answered here tonight. So things like this, I would love to bring this to a workshop before we actually bring it to council meeting in future.
I just want to say, look, I'm happy to
Hang
support.
on, Councillor Roberts, I'll just check.
Yeah, thanks for your Deputy Mayor. Those sentiments can be taken on notice for sure. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I'm happy to support this myself, right? So, but in the interest of fairness for everyone, I'm also happy for a motion to defer this agenda item if we can. If we have time that we can, I'm happy to motion to defer this item so that we can take it to the next workshop, as long as provided that works within the timeline of what STT needs.
Yeah.
If their timeline's too thin, I'm happy to support it right now. But after Councillor Courtney's question, I would like to wish to motion to defer this agenda item.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, my understanding is Britain's request for this letter of support is for a date that would be prior to the next meeting. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I can't support it based on that. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Councillor Roberts.
Any other questions or statements?
I'll speak on the motion itself now. Obviously, you know, the environmental impacts of timber industry, you know, obviously we want it to be as sustainable as possible. You know, obviously there's environmental effects, etc., old growth, new growth. Now, I understand what the veneer mill does in Somerset, and I understand it's new growth, and I understand the connection to our region. I'll put this on record, I'm a proud supporter of the timber industry in Tasmania. My uncles, my family have worked at Britain's Timbers, being from Circular Head, and you know, I'm proud of what Britain's Timbers has done in this state over a long time, as Councillor Hyland has said, and I'd be very happy to support this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Anybody else would like to speak to or against the motion? Okay, I'll put the motion. There may be a division. So all those in favour, please raise your hand. Councillor Johnson, Councillor Raw, Councillor Hyland, Councillor Roberts and myself. And against, Councillor Courtney. The motion is, how do I say that? Passed. Didn't have that written down. 9.8, we move on to a recommendation there that council adopts the asset management policy as presented.
So moved.
Councillor Courtney,
Second.
second Councillor Roberts. Councillor Courtney.
Look, this is an area that I implicitly trust our engineering and our finance managers. I think that you do an excellent job of asset management. Shout out to Murray and Jono as well. Like, you do a great job in this area. Trust you implicitly on this one.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney.
Or just again in relation to asset management, as I used to be the youth officer and recreation officer, I've said it plenty of times at this council, and I learnt a lot about asset management and utilisation while I was here. I truly believe I was taught by the best, John O'Linden. I had a lot of questions for him, and he always had the right answer. He was very knowledgeable and a great teacher. I really want to credit, as Councillor Courtney has just said, it never sits well with me to sit up here and accept the credit for the work of others. And so I feel very blessed as a councillor at this council that we have people like Jonathan Linden and Murray Jamieson, people like Mitchell Smith over there with the finances and the work they do, and especially the Director of Infrastructure and Development. Every single piece of footpath we have in our whole entire region has a code. Every asset this council owns is listed, it is depreciated, and just the sheer amount of logistical work that goes into maintaining that and staying on top of that is something that would boggle most people's minds. I think we can even take for granted the calibre of employee we do have here. I truly feel like we're not just a leader statewide, but we'd be a leader nationwide. To live in a bottom 10 economy region and to make a surplus every single year, to renew assets every year, to have a $72 million committed spend into 2031, and to have complete faith in this council that they will pull it off. It goes to show the amount of genius level work that is being done, the amount of wizardry that is being done, and we're very fortunate because things could be a lot worse, but because of the people that are in the back rooms that no one ever sees and no one ever hears of, and people wouldn't even know their names, but John O'Linden, Murray Jamieson, Mitchell Smith, Daniel Summers, thank you for making us as councillors look so good, honestly. We appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Anybody else would like to speak to the motion?
Just a question.
Yes.
Through you to the engineer. The option of the crumb rubber, does that sort of,
That's
will
next,
that be on every application?
next motion.
Right.
That's next motion.
Oh, sorry,
You want to hold off till the next one?
sorry.
Okay.
Got carried away there, didn't
I'll
I?
answer shortly.
Okay, we'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously.
Oh, I was in the same area.
9.9, award of contract 837. Recommendation that council awards contract 837 for the provision of bitumen surfacing services to the Hardings Group for 2025-26, including the alternate tender option of crumbed rubber additive to all spray seals. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Councillor Highland.
Yeah.
Second, Councillor Courtney. Councillor Highland, would you like to ask
Yeah,
a
I'll ask
question
that
or
question,
speak to
yeah,
it?
yeah. Daniel, is it for just specific areas, or is it going to be a whole, just across the board?
Yeah, thanks for your Deputy Mayor. It's through the whole of the bitumen mix. So not only do we keep ties out of landfill, but we improve the properties of the bitumen by having it there. It will absorb more strain, prevent crack propagation, those sorts of properties. So, yeah.
Thank you. No, happy to move that as per the recommendation.
I've got a question.
Yes, Councillor Courtney.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Director of Engineering. Who does the contract on the highway, on the Bass Highway at the back here of Wynyard?
Through your Deputy Mayor, I think the current maintenance contract, the primary contractor would be Stornoway, and there'd be a number of other subcontractors that contribute to
Not the
that.
same contractors we've recommended?
No, that
Excellent. That's
primary
all I need to
contract
know.
is not the same one, no.
Excellent. No worries. I don't want those people looking after our local roads. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak to the motion? Councillor Highland, would you like to sum up?
No, thank you.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 9.10, award of contract 834, provision of cleaning services for council and or public use facilities. Got a recommendation there that council award contract 834, provision of cleaning services for council and or public use facilities as follows. 1, to Command 51 for A, option A, council facilities. B, option D, sanitary bin supply and servicing. 2, to Northwest Cleaning Services for A, option B, public toilets and barbecues, excluding Waratah. B, option C, public toilets and barbecues, Waratah only. Could I have a mover?
So moved. Oh,
So moved.
Councillor Roberts, second, Councillor Courtney. Councillor Roberts.
Just quickly, again, the amount of negotiation with the tenders, people probably don't understand, every time we build a new toilet, every time we build a new facility, we have to maintain it and clean it. And obviously the contracts will cover it, all encompassing with that. And I have absolute complete faith in our staff that they will choose the appropriate tender, and we just have complete confidence in you all. So thank you so very much for making us look good.
Councillor Roberts. Anybody else want to speak to the motion?
Now I'm happy that you've split it and then justified why you split it. That makes sense.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 9.11. Financial report for the period ended 30th of June 2025. There's a recommendation that council notes the financial report for the period ended 30th of June 2025. Could I have a mover?
So moved.
Councillor Courtney, second Councillor Roberts. Councillor Courtney.
Oh no, look, I think that given the lack of funding that our area gets, these guys do an absolutely fantastic job with our financials to keep us as a little rural council above in the black and out of trouble. I think that they just do a fantastic job with the resources they have.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Any other speakers?
Just again, thank you very much, Mitchell, for all the work you do, and thank you to your team as well. They all do an incredible job, and we're very thankful for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. So if there's no more speakers, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 9.12, Senior Managers Report. There's a recommendation that council notes the Senior Managers Report. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts and Councillor Raw.
I don't mind. Yep.
Councillor Raw. Councillor Roberts, would you like to speak to the motion?
I'll say the same thing every single time. I cannot recommend enough for the public, the constituents, just to have a look at these reports, read through them, and keep an eye on us and see what we're up to, and stay involved and know what's going on. And all the information is here, and I would highly encourage anyone to read it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Raw, did you have? Yes. Anybody else? No. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 9.13, minutes of other bodies and committees. So I have a recommendation that council notes the unconfirmed minutes of the Audit Panel Committee meeting held on 10th of June 2025. Do I have a mover? Councillor Raw and second Councillor Roberts. Councillor Raw, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, look, I'm fine with it just as written, knowing that the audit group go through their schedule of what to audit each meeting, and it's a very comprehensive, close scrutiny of what's happening here, so that's great.
Thank you. Any other speakers to the motion? Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. Yep. So 10 matters proposed for consideration in closed meeting. I've got a recommendation that the council resolves by an absolute majority that the matters listed below be considered for closed meetings. Could I have a mover?
So moved.
Councillor
Second.
Courtney, and Councillor Johnson, second. I don't think we just put it to the vote, don't we? Yep. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 11. So 11, closure of the meetings to the public. Recommendation that council resolves by an absolute majority that go into a closed meeting to consider the following matters. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Roberts and Councillor Courtney. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. So, closed at 6:49.